being something like this. You have, over on the left, you have Bonzo the chimp, and Oog the ape man is over near there, and then you have Neanderthal and Cro-Magnon and some naked guy over on the right. And this picture of how evolution in general and human evolution progresses has been attacked very stridently by authors like Jonathan Wells, as well as other creationist authors going back to, probably going back to George McCready Price in the 1920s. Well, I promise never to teach that human evolution happened this way. And when you get into the, when you read, as I have read, I have gone over to Central Baptist College Library and done some reading of the other side's position on human evolution. The creation literature talks a great deal about how all life is divided up into individually created kinds. And Dr. Hovind gave a very fine example of how these work. You can have a dog, a wolf, and a coyote, and sure, maybe there's been a little bit of change. All three of those might have evolved from a common dog-like ancestor, but it was still a dog, not a rutabaga or some such. And while you'll find, if you read the creation literature, that there's some debate as to exactly how you should define what a kind is, in most cases it's quite obvious. On the left you have the skull of a chimp. On the right you have the skull of a human, and these clearly belong to different created kinds. In fact, in case any of the skeptics in here doubt my word, I brought a replica. This is not an actual skull. Actually, it is. This is all that's left of the last person I caught cheating on one of my exams. Right here. And this guy might have played defensive backfield for a football team once. Actually, no, I take that back. This is a chimpanzee skull, replica. Again, we don't have actual bone. And it's quite obvious that they're quite different. And you know, there cannot be any missing links between them if the creationist view of human origins is true. And there have been a number of fossils that have been found that have turned up in various parts in the world: Java Man, Lucy, Cro-Magnon, things like that. And if creation science is correct, and this is what puzzles me a little bit, there cannot be missing links between ape kind and mankind. Everything that we find must be either an ape or a human, and this has been the position of many of the authorities I've read, of people like Marvin Lubenow, whose book is available for purchase on Dr. Hovind's website, or Jack Cuozzo, author of a very fine book that's also available for purchase. But when I started looking into this, I started running into some difficulties. In the trade, we often refer to fossils by catalog numbers. So this is skull KNMER 1470. Looking a little stepped on, of course. I do hope I look that good in 6,000 years. And I'd like to compare it with another skull, skull ZKD-E3, that was also found quite some time ago. And as it happens, I have replicas available of both of these. The originals are carefully kept, but replicas are generally available for study. And for the record, this one at least I purchased with my own funds, so your tax dollars did not go into using this as an indoctrination tool. You're welcome. So if we compare these, as we know, they must be either clearly ape or clearly human. There was a creationist writing in the 70s, it might have been Kelly Seagraves, I forget, who mentioned that the more difficult it is to determine the boundaries between created kinds, the more evolution is going to look like as if it's true. So it should be obvious as to what is an ape and what is a man. If you purchase this book by Jack Cuozzo called Buried Alive, he is I believe is an orthodontist. He has a great deal of experience with skulls and with bones. And according to him, they're both essentially apes. They've got small brains. The one over on the left has a brain size of about 750 cubic centimeters. That's roughly half of your own. And he considers both of these to be basically funny-looking apes. Marvin Lubenow, on the other hand, author of book Bones of Contention, which is a very fine book, very fine review of the fossil record, human fossil record, from a creationist viewpoint, has placed both of these in as man. A researcher by the name of A.W. Mellert considers the one on the left, KNM-ER1470, to be an ape, and the one on the right, the ZKD skull, to be a man. And an author I've become familiar with on the net by the name of David Menton considers the one on the left to be male, a man, and the one on the right to be an ape. So I'm getting confused by this because I've read 4 well-accredited creationist authors, 4 opinions that they have, and I get all 4 possible combinations of which one is an ape and which one is a man. If you read an essay by David Menton, a PhD scientist in Kansas City, Missouri, called The Scientific Evidence for the Origin of Man, very short essay, it says, there were only small eyebrow ridges, no crest, and a domed skull typical of a human. This is the one he's talking about. Indeed, it appeared to be a human skull. Walter Brown, on the other hand, whose book, In the Beginning, is available for sale over there, on page 12, states that this animal clearly had ape-like proportions and should never have been classified as man-like. So on Dr. Hovind's website, he sells Martin Lubenow's book, who states that both skulls are human, and Jack Cuozzo's book, who says both are apes. Now, I certainly believe in not exposing people